Hey guys, the new Divergent universe is out, so it's time for another Protocol 8 guide. And there's a lot to go over, so let's get right into it. Now, today I'm gonna cover two different playstyles. And what's great is that now that we've access to all the trial characters, there should be no issue in following my guide. From what I've tested, Break and Blazar are still completely broken and trivialized the mode. For Break, I was able to use the trial build and still bulldoze the mode. Meanwhile, Blazar was just really strong. So depending on your account preference, you can just choose whichever route you want. Now, if you got some crazy strats or tips, please share in the comment section because it can maybe help some other people out. To start off though, I'm gonna go over all the rules and key tips you need to know, because if you're not playing a certain way or getting the right setup, you may be throwing your run. However, if you already know how to play, then you can just skip to the instant win teams for each method. But to start off, we got the masks, which the mode revolves around. Do they matter? A little bit. They definitely make your runs easier if you play around them. But if you get unlucky and don't get the ideal masks, then it doesn't break the run. As for which masks to choose, I believe the two best ones are Slipshot and then the camera. Slipshot is fantastic as levels all your domains, which by the end, you should only be entering level 4 and 5 domains, which give hella rewards. The camera is just super consistent and rewards us for going into the occurrence and reward domains, which are generally the best options. However, if you can't get those two, we still have the Cringe, Megatron, and 2 masks which don't require much effort and will just be solid. Fortune Cat and Gladiator are potential picks, and I don't like Chariot or Horse. So overall, we have 5 out of the 9 masks which are pretty good choices in my opinion. Following this, we got the Grand Miracles, which appears every few mask levels. There are mask specific and universal ones. Generally speaking, just choose the mask specific options and whichever one sounds good. So moving on, this will be what actually matters, domains. In my opinion, this new mode does not focus on the masks, it's all about domain levels. The higher they are, the more rewards we get. As such, in the normal miracles or certain rewards we get to choose, the number one priority is to always level up our domains. After that though, which domains do we actually want to go to? Well, this will actually depend on the domain level. When you're choosing where to go next, we can actually view the domain info. Here we can see how the different levels gives us varying amounts of stuff. So now on the screen will be my tier list of where to go. At the top, we got escapade domains. These are rare but give the most rewards. After that, we have reward domains and then occurrence. For this though, I'm just gonna group them up. Here, I'm gonna list the general rules. High level reward or occurrence domains are better than high level adventure. Low level adventure domains, however, are better than low level reward and occurrence domains. Aberration domains are better than wealth if you're OP and pretty strong. If not, avoid aberration domains as you're gonna get your butt whooped. Some of the hardest fights in the mode are in this domain type if you want to get the full rewards. After that, we have elite and combat domains, which are last picks in most scenarios. However, the most important here is actually the Forge domain. If possible, we're always looking to enter a level 5 Forge by the end of a run, which with the Slipshot mask is pretty easy to do. In here, on the left, we can level up our domains or add beacons. In the middle, we can equip some decent and generally dookie weighted curios. However, on the right side, we can buy Tawat and Towat cards. These things are OP. Firstly, Tawat cards let you choose great buffs, ranging from more money, wish power, or in-combat buffs. And the Towat cards let you pick the final boss and get a 50% final damage increase in that room. So not only can we bully the weaker bosses, we're also now buffed up while doing so. Now of the 4 bosses, Nicodor, Icar, Hule, and the Swarm Sam, if you're going to Blazar route, fight Nicodor. However, if you're going Break, then fight Hule. Moving on though, and before we get to the OP strats, let's cover some general tips and rules. Firstly, for most teams, we do not want to fight early because we're probably gonna die. We are by far the weakest at the start of a run, and only become really strong near the end. Secondly, if you need to go to combat domains, you can just clear it with Finance Technique. Third, the conversion domain is on floor 10, and generally we aren't OP enough to clear this unless we get really freaking lucky. As such, we can just use the Herdus technique, which insta-wipes the first 2 waves and a bit of wave 3. This way we save like 10 minutes of our life and still get most of the rewards. Fourth, we need to talk about pace. Generally, on floor 6 or the first boss, you likely will not have your first equation expanded, nor have any of the good stuff. So this will likely be the hardest part of the run, and you'll need a team that just has the raw damage to beat it. Break. Now, the second checkpoint is on floor 14, the second boss. Here, we ideally will have our core 3-star equation expanded, and if we do, we're gonna delete the second boss. Assuming you're matching this pace, the new mode should be a cakewalk. And finally, the last piece of advice is to play around the highlighted unit. Every so often, the first unit in the team becomes highlighted, and depending on your mask level, they will get varying amounts of final damage increase. In these few turns, you're gonna hit like an absolute truck, so try to stack your buffs around this. Now, I'll further explain what I mean by this later, but for now, let's move on. So with all of that, let's now get into the OP comps. Starting off, we got Break. This is by far the most broken, no pun intended, and easiest to do setup in the mode, and it's not even close. And what's great is that everyone can replicate this now. The team comp consists of Firefly, Dahlia, Fugue, and lastly Ruan-Mei or a Sustain. For the Sustain, you can just use Danhong PT or Heisen. Now, if you have your own break DPS like Butthole or Rappa, you can use them. But if you're using the trial units, just pick Firefly. Now, this team is broken for 3 reasons. Firstly, Break has the best early and mid scaling in the game, with the trial builds outdamaging most teams at the first and second boss. Secondly, it has built-in sustain. When you're constantly breaking enemies, they just don't get to play, especially with Ruan-Mei. And third, the trial builds actually work here. Unlike crit teams which have scuff stats and light cones, Break only cares about break effect, so it's still strong. By the way, they give you stupid light cones, but it doesn't even matter. Now, for what we need to get in the run, it all revolves around the Dead General 3-star equation. Here, depending on your element, we'll get a few different effects. If you're a fire unit, we'll get 60% break vulnerability, and seeing how we'll be using 3 fire units, we're going to get 180 break vulnerability for free, which in most cases is nearly double to triple our current damage. Moving on to the 2-star equations, it's really simple. There's only 3 of them and they're all really strong, so just get whichever ones pop up in your run. And lastly, for the 1-star equations, there's 4 harmony equations, with only the nihility one being pretty dookie. There's also other good equations which I didn't cover, but you'll probably be able to tell which ones to pick up. As you can see, it's super simple. If it has harmony in it, then you just pick it up. No need to figure out all the other complicated and goofy mechanics. After that, we have the blessings, and here's the basic order on what we're looking for. Harmony blessings will always be the priority, but for us, we're looking for the first and second movement. First movement applies Harmonize, aka Cancer, and second movement lets us detonate that Cancer. Assuming you have both, the gameplay is gonna look something like this.
Okay, what was that?
Death.
What kind?
Instant.
There was no sound, he just died.
Yeah, terrifying.
And by the way, the gameplay I just shown was also using the trial builds. After that, we just need to get the bare minimum blessings of the other paths to activate our equations. Moving on, there's now the God blessings which every run needs. Force Jump is the most OP blessing again, and will prevent you from dying to chip damage and also one-shots, so make sure to upgrade this. Hypersonic Cloud Medium is also nice when upgraded. After that, we have the Psychedelic Parking Lot, a 1-star elation blessing, which gives 45% action minutes at the start of combat, which will prevent you from insta-dying and also let you insta-break the enemies. Lastly, we got the 3-star hunt stuff, which are of course as OP as usual, especially the break one. After that, we only want things that restore our HP, increase our defense, provide damage reduction, or reduce the enemy's attack. for break, this is actually the main method we're going to use to stay alive. Moving on, I'm not going to talk about the normal curios since that's RNG and also run dependent. However, when we get into the Forge domain, we need to pick up Silent Song. This basically turns raw May into our pseudo sustain. Everything else is pretty bad and doesn't matter, but we can also pick up most Raucous. Now honestly, there's not much to say on how to play this, because if you have the right stuff and level up your domains, you will just steamroll everything. Now onto the second strategy, we got Blazar, aka Castorice teams. The core would be Castorice, Hyacinth, and Evernight, and for the last slot, you can choose between Tribi or Cyrene. It doesn't really matter much. Now before anything though, you need to understand this. Every single crit team struggles like a motherfudger early to mid game. You just don't deal damage. Castorice is simply the strongest crit team and are also HP scalers, which makes them really tanky. So if you do find yourself struggling on the first boss, just swap to Firefly, kill it, and then just swap back. This strategy relies on Blazar, and TLDR, it's just HP lost, which turns into a funny multiplier which our attacks will scale off of. However, this patch kinda messed up with how we're supposed to build it. You'd think we'd go for the 3-star equations with Nanook's big ugly face on it, but nope, the best one's actually a 2-star equation now. Sadly, Conflict Author got nerfed into Eternal Supplicant, changing it from HP scaling to break scaling for no apparent reason. So it went from OP for HP to now being good for break. Moving on to the equations though, your must-haves are 2-star Aberration Idol, 3-star Fire Rejectors, and 1-star Garage Demon Slayer. If you get these, the run is basically saved, as this is what allows you to deal damage. After that though, the good pickups are 3-star Nightmare Lord, 2-star Divine Retribution, and 1-star Demon of Renegade. And also, get anything Butterfly Soul or Propagation related. Trust me, this last part will be vital. Now for the blessings, Destruction is your main path, so pretty much all of them are pretty good. But the most important one is Random Free Path. This is what actually lets you deal Blazar damage. Without it or the core equations, you basically deal 0 damage. After that, we want to look for Propagation Blessings which generate Soul Chrysalis. Butterfly Soul is really OP for the strat by the way. So time to explain why this strategy even works. Firstly, where is the damage even coming from? Well, we got 3 Blazar sources, but the main ones are Random Free Path and Aberration Idol. Random Free Path gives us the baseline Blazar damage, but once you add in Aberration Idol, we are straight up doubling our Blazar damage. So that's absolutely core to the build. Now, what makes Aberration Idol so strong is how easy it is to get into Butterfly Soul state. Once you're in Butterfly Soul, you're constantly dealing Blazar damage and the damage is just gonna be nuts. To explain the damage, at a baseline, we just deal normal tiny PP damage, but eventually we add in Blazar for that extra multiplier, and at this point it's still just okay. But after that, we multiply all that damage by the true damage of Butterfly Soul. And not only that, we then multiply all of that by the Highlight's final damage multiplier, and all of a sudden, we're just one-shotting the bosses. Yeah, everything just comes together and we literally become a nuke. As for how you play the team, it's really straightforward and there's only one rule. Never blow up Pollux and always leave 25% HP left. Pollux is the best sustain in the mode and acts as a second health bar. Not only that though, having Pollux on the field also means Castorice gets her enhanced skill, which in this mode makes her hit like an absolute truck, but at the same time also makes her generate a lot of Blazar. So with all that said, you should be good to go on the Blazar side of things. And yeah, that's also the end of the video. I know a lot of people were struggling with Protocol 8, so I hope this guide can help you beat it. Or if you already have, perhaps you learned a new thing or two. Besides that, I hope you could leave a like or subscribe. The channel's been doing super well recently and we're almost at 10k subs, though thank you guys so much for all the love and support. As for the future, I don't think I can cover version 5 for 4.2 as I have a much cooler video planned out for you guys. Trust me, it's gonna be a banger. But if version 5 does pull the rug on us, I will of course cover it. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching and peace.